Hello again. Um, so I guess I don't know what happened with the audio in the Ranger video from yesterday, so I'm just gonna redo it here. Bear with me for a minute. I made some changes to like the audio settings, just to make sure that it actually is gonna, pick me up. So give me a second here. No, that's not what I wanted. There we go. Let's try this. Doodle-doo-doo-doo, testing. Alright, that seems to be coming across better. I apologize for that. I don't know what the heck happened, honestly. Maybe the mic was a little bit too far from my face. But I'll be talking about the Ranger class again right now, which is just like the character creation, subclasses, level up choices, and just kind of overall gameplay of this. So let's kind of dive into this. As a ranger, you're very versatile in and out of combat. You have a good amount of spells. They're very nature related, but they also have access to a large amount of skills that they can usually work with. They have a hit die of the D10. Their primary stat is dexterity. You can also dive into strength if you want to be a strength-based ranger, kind of wielding swords. They gain proficiency in strength and dexterity saving throws, and your spellcasting modifier is wisdom, so having a high wisdom for your spells will be helpful. They also have access to simple and martial weapons, shields, light and medium armor. From a race perspective, I always tend to say half elves and elves. Um, Deep gnomes for spells would always be good.
Dost thou require a new
I'm going to use withers here to make Shadowheart a ranger. Um, but halflings are also a good choice just for lucky, the ability to not be frightened. I feel elves and half elves are the tropes of, they're the rangers or what have you. Humans would always be a good choice as well. From a attribute perspective, like I had mentioned, you could go and be a strength-based ranger. You could be a dexterity-based ranger. If you wanted to focus more on the ranger's list of spells, there's information out here of like what all your spells are. And what's nice too is like you could try a ranger and find out that you don't really care for their spell list. You can just talk to Withers and change your class, and you'll be right back at like level 8. Let's say you did it at level 8. Um, but if you want to be more of a dexterity-based fighter, I'd recommend, let's see here, 16 dexterity. You still want some decent constitution because you're going to be taking some hits. 10 intelligence just to round that out. Give ourselves 14 wisdom just to round that piece out, to giving us a +2 as our modifier, and quite honestly, rounding out strength so that it's a +0 would be helpful. If you want to be more strength-based, you could flip these, or give yourself move this around so that I have 16 strength. I'll drop my wisdom down so I can at least get a couple bonuses to my AC. And just in this instance, I just probably wouldn't be focusing highly on my spells. Or if you wanted to be more of a spell casting kind of ranger, I would then turn around and say, put 16 in your wisdom. Probably still want to have you want to have decent dexterity. Let's see, we'll do this. Round out your strength. Get your con as high as you can get it. 14 is useful, and then you can round out one of your stats, or if you don't want to round these out so that they're a +0, you could instead turn around and take a 15 in con and round it out to, or even it out to 16 on your next level up. Level it up on your next next level up. Me personally, I like playing more dexterity-based rangers. I almost think of myself as like Legolas. It's really easy to jump into that idea. But if I were to do something of this nature, if I was playing this character, I'd round myself out to where I have a +1 in these, and yeah, I have a floating one. So then I'd be like, well, I'll probably put it in wisdom and figure life out from there. Um, Outside of attributes, a lot of skills that you would probably want to focus on as a um, ranger would be your stealth, perception, survival, sleight of hand, dexterity based kind of things. What's nice about a ranger is that if you don't have a rogue in your party, you can kind of turn them into a mini rogue right out the gate. Just because of dexterity being the stat that you would use for lockpicking and what have you. Um, Into the level 1. So at level 1, you get to choose a favorite enemy, and there's a long list of them here where Bounty Hunter lets you gain proficiency in your investigation, and when you hit creatures with an ensnaring strike, you deal an extra d6 of damage and hold the enemy in place, and they will have disadvantage on their saves. Keeper of the Veil, you have proficiency in Arcana and can cast the spell Protect Evil and Good from Evil and Good, which protects you and your allies from being charmed or frightened by aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. Magebreaker, you again get proficiency in Arcana, but you get access to a cantrip called True Strike. And what True Strike does is when you cast it on your next turn, you'll have advantage on your attack roll. Next 2 turns, sorry. As a Ranger Knight, you would gain proficiency in History and you would gain Heavy Armor proficiency. So let's say you wanted to be more of a frontline Ranger fighter, you would potentially pick this so that you could have access to those um, higher AC armors. Sanctified Killer, basically you gain proficiency in Religion, and you gain the cantrip Sacred Flame. And what Sacred Flame does is it allows you to um, deal 1d8 damage of radiant damage, sorry, against a target. And this damage increases by a d8 at level 5 and level 10. So if you pick this and go all the way up to level 10 as a ranger, this thing would be doing 3d8 worth of damage. The other thing we can pick here, I'm just gonna go with let's go with Bounty Hunter for now. Natural Explorer is something else we get to pick at level 1, and what this is it's just bonuses to your just being a ranger. So at level 1, you can choose from the list here. The first being Beast Tamer, and Beast Tamer basically lets you find a familiar, cast Find Familiar as a ritual, and lets you summon basically a spider, raven, frog, cat, crab, or rat as a fey companion, and they can do a slew of different things to help you throughout your adventure. Urban Tracker, you'll gain proficiency in Sleight of Hand. Very helpful if you wanted to try and turn your ranger into more of a rogue. Wasteland, Wanderer, Cold, Fire, and Poison. These all give you resistance to that specific damage type, so you'll take half damage from it. So if you pick Cold, you'll be resistant to cold, Fire resistant to fire, and Poison you'd be resistant to poison. There's a lot of fire spells in the game, so I'm just gonna pick this. At level 2, we get access to our spell casting, so we can start now casting level 1 spells. In addition to that, we get to gain a fighting style. So I'm going to pick my spells, And these spells are from the Ranger spell list. I'd recommend myself just Hunter's Mark because you get to do more damage, and then also Hail of Thorns just because it's a very good good damage dealing kind of spell. From a fighting style, these are very similar to what we've seen in the past, like under a fighter or paladin, but they're more ranger based. So your options are archery, defense, dueling, and 2-weapon fighting. Archery adds a +2 bonus to your ranged attacks. Defense gives you a +1 to armor. Dueling, as long as you're wielding a weapon in one hand with nothing else with no other weapons in your other hand, you'll deal an extra 2 damage with that. 2-weapon fighting lets you add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. So if you're using a short sword in both hands, your offhand, so your bonus action attack as part of this, would be able to add in your dexterity bonus to it. So if you're planning on doing 2-weapon fighting with things, I'd recommend taking 2-weapon fighting, and then at level 4 taking the dueling feat so that you can, or the 2-weapon feat, sorry, so that you can gain some bonuses so you can then start wielding like long swords as part of this. I usually like just picking archery because I'm a ranger. I feel usually you're gonna be shooting things at range. At level 3 we get access to our subclasses and also another spell. I'm going to take just Cure Wounds for now, but there's other things you could take like Speak with Animals. Fog Cloud is a nice way to blind a group of enemies just to kind of keep things on the up and up, if you will. But from the subclass perspective, you have options such as Beastmaster, Gloom, Stalker, and Hunter. Beastmaster, in short, lets you summon a or an animal companion that, as you level up in this subclass, they will start gaining things like their attacks do magical damage, they gain your proficiency bonuses to attacks, they eventually could attack twice. But basically what you have is you have someone that comes with you and can do things. Their turn basically happens at the same time as yours for your initiative. So they're kind of nice if you wanted to kind of roll with having a beast companion with you. If you've watched things like Critical Role, you could make your own trinket, which is basically the bear that she has. Gloomstalker is more like attacking from the shadows, kind of like a ranger, or not ranger, sorry, but a rogue style kind of ranger. And then Hunter is really, to me, the damage dealing ranger archetype or subclass. But first, I'll start with Beastmaster, where at level 3 you get to pick a companion, and these companions they fight alongside you, and their HP and AC will increase at levels 5, 8, and 11. Also at levels 5 and 11, they gain some more attack options. The animals that you can choose from are bear, boar, giant spider, raven, and wolf, and each of these serves a different purpose. I'm not going to go through like what the armor class is and the damage dealing like dice that the different creatures can do. You'll see that when we pick this and we're able to kind of summon something. But bear, sorry, is good for tanking and dealing damage. The boar is they have a charge ability, which is nice, but they have really the lowest HP and AC of the group here. Giant spider, they can jump far and also poisons a target and uses its web to kind of slow creatures. Ravens, they're just highly mobile and great for scouting. You're probably not going to attack too much with them, but they'd be a nice way to kind of scout the field to see what's coming. Wolf is a good damage dealing companion and just not as much damage dealing as a bear, but pretty close. At level 5, you're able to add your proficiency bonus to your companion's AC and damage. At level 7, they can use a bonus action to dash, disengage, and help, very much like you can. And at level 11, they can they get an extra attack. So really, like I said, Beastmasters, you want to have a Beast Companion and have them fight alongside you during everything here. Gloomstalker, like I mentioned, is kind of like a rogue ranger. Your dark vision increases, you gain a lot of different bonuses to like initiative and what have you as well. But if you pick this class, at level 3 you gain what's called Dread Ambusher, which gives you a +3 to initiative bonuses to your initiative. And on the first round of combat, your movement speed is increased by 3 meters, so you can move a little bit farther. And when you make an attack against, when you make an attack, you deal an additional 1d8 worth of damage on that first attack. So your very first attack right out of the gate, you're getting a damage bonus just because of this. You also gain superior dark vision, giving you 24 meters of dark vision, very similar to what, like, I believe it's the Drow has this. You also gain actions such as Dread Ambush or Hide, which is more or less you get the hide action, and basically what happens with this is if you succeed on a stealth check, you're able to hide in the darkness, but if you attack or cast a spell, it'll reveal your location and that'll drop. Umbral Shroud lets you become invisible for 10 rounds as long as you don't attack, use a spell, take an action, or damage anything. So you could be invisible and walk around things. And you use that as an action, which is really nice. Disguise Self lets you disguise your physical appearance, so you can turn yourself from being a high elf or half elf, sorry, and turn yourself into that. Now you look like a gnome, even though you're the same thing. At level 5 with Gloomstalker, you gain the spell Misty Step. So as a bonus action, it's a level 2 spell, sorry, but you're able to teleport as a bonus action 18 meters away. At level 7, you gain proficiency in Wisdom and Intelligence saving throws. At level 9, you're able to cast the spell Fear on a target, which basically makes them easier to hit. If the target ends their turn, they can't see you, then they can make a saving throw to try and end this effect. And the effect that it kind of has on them as well is that they have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. And at level 11, you gain Stalker's Flurry, which when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack for free. Very helpful if you're you get those unlucky rolls to where you missed. Hunter is one of the subclasses that I always love playing. There's a lot of things about them I love. At level 3, you gain the ability to choose one of these Hunter's Praise. And what these break down to is Colossal Slayer lets you deal an additional d8 worth of damage if the target is below their HP max. So if you've already hit them or someone else has, as long as they don't have 100% of their health or HP, you get an additional d8 worth of damage. Giant Killer, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack if the target is large or bigger. Basically, if it's a large class or bigger than that. And then the other one you can get is Horde Breaker, which if there are 2 creatures standing in front of you, which does happen when things swarm you, you more or less have the equivalent of cleaving them to be able to attack both creatures in a single attack action. I personally like taking Colossal Slayer because I feel Horde Breaker is very situational just because you really have to wait for people to get close to you. But that's pretty much those subclasses in a nutshell. Beastmaster, you're able to get a Beast Companion to help you. Gloomstalker, you're kind of roguey. And Hunter, you do a lot more attacks. Not more attacks, but you're just more damagey. At level 4, we gain a attribute or feat bonus. So like I mentioned, if I was doing 2-weapon fighting, I would pick Dual Wielder because then this allows me to not only get a +1 to my AC, but I can wield weapons that aren't heavy in both hands. Instead, actually, in this case, I would round up my Wisdom just because I can, or just say increase my Dexterity. At level 5, let's see, as far as I go is level 4. Yep, that's as far as I am. But at level 5, you would gain the ability to you cast level 2 spells and gain an extra attack, so that allows you to um, basically attack twice. You get 2 attacks during your attack action. Level 6, you gain an additional favored enemy and natural explorer selection. At level 8, we gain another feat or attribute bonus. And also we gain land stride, which basically turns difficult terrain into just regular terrain. So difficult terrain no longer affects you. And what I mean by that is difficult terrain is when you walk across it, rather than it taking you 10 feet of movement to go across something, it now takes you 20 feet of movement. Because most things, it's half movement speed, or there's some spells that make it quarter movement speed because it's difficult terrain for you. With land stride at level 8, as long as you're level 8 ranger, you'll just walk right over the difficult terrain without a problem. At level 3, we would gain access to level 3 spell, or level 9, we would gain access to level 3 spells. And at level 10, we gain an action called Hide in Plain Sight, which lets you add 10 to your stealth checks and become invisible. That you can use this once per long rest, and it ends if you move, attack, cast a spell, take an action, or take damage. It's very similar to... I didn't take it, did I? It's very similar to some of the subclass pieces that we had here of like you could become invisible or get your bonuses to your stealth. And also at level 10, on top of Hide in Plain Sight, we gain a third favorite enemy and a third Natural Explorer. Does it show me what I have here? Probably not. So I'd have Bounty Hunter in addition to a couple extra, 2 more at level, once I'm level 10, sorry, 2 more favorite enemies and 2 more Natural Explorers. And then at level 12, we gain another feat or attribute bonus. So as this ranger, for a multi-classing perspective, I would say maybe multi-class into a fighter, just because you'd gain some of the fighter attributes here, so you'd have some different weapons to choose from. But as a ranger, I mean, I'm going to be doing, let's see here, if I were to take my Hail of Thorns, and sorry teammate, it's going to attack all 3 of these guys. So they all failed their saves, they took a good amount of damage, and that just cost me a level 1 spell slot to do. So if I were to do this again, if you have a group of people that are close by, you can actually get a good amount of attacks on them. Or if I just wanted to attack from a distance, I'm not going to have her react.
Come on, up you get.
So there's a good amount of things you can do here. I'm going to actually hit the halfling I have over here with Hunter's Mark. What that does is now I can have that extra d6 worth of damage. It does cost me concentration, but now when I attack him, it does a d6 of damage and also my normal attack damage. So if I were a higher level, like if I was actually level 12, I'd have more attacks to go through with this. I'd be very mobile. I believe my movement speed is fairly high. So as always, if there's anything I missed or something you would like added from your own experiences, feel free to add it in the comments below. And as always, happy gaming. Enjoy this wonderful thing. Have a good one.